any situation is winnable for Pirates. They have a wealth of win conditions, and Kaidia has the capability to seemingly create more out of thin air.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like their roster has several players that are strong enough and consistent enough that they can literally anchor to and rally around no matter what the situation they find themselves in. And that creates an overall very consistent team that can be tough to dethrone. And Pirates have shown you that so far. They've won their first couple series. They're looking to make this one win number 3 as we head for Celestial Husk up first. Gambit off the table for EXO, but EXO going to ban out the Mantis first.
I do also want to point out, Kaidia and Alonefills both flashing the Lord icon on the Deadpool, which, as we all know, does bonus damage.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
I've heard it a lot in my games, ever since he dropped. But you know what else I have heard a lot of is that Gambit never folds, and Pirates are going to be trying to secure a one-sided Gambit, and will succeed in doing so. We'll see where that goes from here, but you're going to be looking at XOXO01, and they're going to be like, okay, we got to hit the same notes now that we see the Gambit. We can't give them the Loki. We can't let them double up. Do we go for the Star-Lord? They're going to shut down the Daredevil, which, as we have seen, a lot of teams in this region do like to lean on, so not a bad ban coming out there.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the Gambit save come through, it really kind of tells you we need to ban a couple other things around him, and you end up having to dump so much into stopping the heroes that he enables. So it can kind of throw a wrench in the works of your ban phase there. So not just Gambit himself being strong, but it is who he enables that makes him so deadly. Elsa Bloodstone save for Pirates as well, so they get 2 very powerful heroes here out of the draft phase. They will not have access to DD though. They will not have Invis, and EXO are going to save Jeff for themselves here to round out their side of the draft. I have to say, I feel like I favor Pirates draft here a little more, but EXO, I feel like a team you really got to let them cook before you can make a determination of what it's looking like for them.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of target bans coming out here from Pirates, not trying to, hit any of the chicanery that XOXO1 are known for. So, like, no Spider-Man bans, no Magic bans, certainly no Black Panther bans in Year of Our Lord 2026, but it looks like, to my eyes, this looks like about the most normal ban phase that I've ever seen out of an XOXO1 map here, but I think that Invis ban is quite interesting. I think Invis is currently the strongest of the, we'll call them main healer strategists, and going to be forcing the Cloak and Dagger, which, since the move over to Dive, has kind of slipped down the pecking order a little bit there, so Rezter currently hovering that. That's going to be like the next best option. I don't know if that's what they're going to stick with, but it does kind of put a wrench into things.
Yeah, and I also noticed no Captain America ban coming through, so that does leave Cap on the table for Zetha to pick up as well over on the side of EXO, if they want to go to that. I did see him hovering Thing there at the end of the ban phase, though, so definitely question of what they're going to come out of the spawn room with, but we are ready for domination here on Celestial Husk. Pirates sitting at 2-0, taking on XOXO01, still standing at a solid 2-1 record for themselves. Hard to say who we think is going to win this one, because if you asked me on the last match, I would have said a reject, and I would have been proven horribly wrong, so I will keep that one on reserve for now, but a solid matchup for sure. I mean, these two teams definitely feel around the same power level and even matchup, and it feels that way kind of down the card as we go all throughout this night, but we are ready. MRC final boss versus the Bridesmaids, but still looking for their wedding here in this season of Ignite.
Zetha from EXO gonna open things up with a strange TP play. Is it gonna be a kidnap, or is it going to be just trying to get all of the troops into the back line and catch Pirates by surprise? They do throw the Terra Cape on in through, but doesn't look like they caught anybody. Instead, just gonna use it for positioning here, and that gives Pirates the high ground essentially for free now. And speaking of high ground, Return doesn't need the ground at all. Bro is on the Ultron, he can fly.
Yeah, again, Ultron making his rounds so far in the preseason. Definitely getting a lot of value out of him so far here. Mission area unlocked. Both teams ready for a fight here. Looking for a way to engage there. Kaidia on the move, on the Vanpool, on the table for just Pirates here. They'll walk away with that one-sided. We'll find Ace to start things off here, and Pirates already on the move. They've got the coordinates towards victory locked in, and they will take the first capture as well. Almost all of EXO headed back to the spawn room to dust themselves off.
Yeah, blink and you miss it. Kaidia just gets right up in Ace's face and just hits the double deagles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 taps. I don't know how many it took, but it was a lot quicker than Ace could count to that number. So XOXO01 already going to be behind the 8-ball here, and they used their strange TP just to try and get positioning, and then immediately lost said positioning here. So now they just got to hoof it right into the meat grinder that is vital on this Elsa Bloodstone, pumping in the damage. And there's the ever-looming threat of Kaidia with that Banhammer, but I mean, you're not even getting that far. You're just taking the raw damage here from Hoodie and return, and now Kadia going in with those katanas, leaving XOXO01 and leaving only ribbons behind.
Yeah, and Vital taxing every single member of EXO on their way to the point there. Half health bars for almost all of them. Easy cleanup for those Deadpool katanas to just slice and dice like a hot knife through butter. EXO back to spawn, back up and ready for another fight, but Pirates already 50% of the way captured, so big neutral game for this Pirates squad here. EXO trying to pick things back up. The Pirates already on the move here. Kaidia pushing up yet again here, meeting them at the tunnel as EXO walking right out of spawn, but Ace on the move over onto the Angela for now.
Sungjok Woo has also made the swap over onto Spider-Man. XOXO01 have had enough of attempting to be normal. They march to the beat of their own drum, and it's time to start marching, but Vital gonna send Ace marching right back to spawn with another elephant gun shot there, and Aztac taking down the aforementioned Sungjok Woo, putting the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man back in the neighborhood where he came from. Again, the spawn door. Turtle Bond coming out from Rester. XOXO01 still think this is turnable, and at 84%, they better be right.
Yeah, mid-fight ult swing here towards Pirates. They'll throw down the Fate of Both Worlds. That's Aztac on the Luna Snow here. Plenty of sustain for this team. Overhead, Galactic Legend from alone. No Gambit to enable him, but still some damage coming down. In the meantime, though, Hoodie on the Gambit will find Ace and send one back. No value out of that Galactic Legend as Pirates will take it to 99 overtime. I do see a Sungjok Woo Spider-Man flying through somewhere there. Spectacular spin does come through. They're going to try one last attempt here to stay in on it. But Vital, they cannot stop this Elsa Bloodstone here. It is going to be a 2 for 2, make it 3 for 2, favoring Pirates here as Fun comes through with another one on the Magneto and still holding the Meteor M2 to try and finish things off. Ace falls and now overtime ready to tick back down here, but still in the fight here. Sungjok Woo on the Spider-Man trying to buy time, but gets caught outside the capture circle, and that is point number 1 for Pirates.
That is such an unfortunate snare placement, but it does catch a spider in its web. Oh, how the tables have turned, and Pirates taking Celestial Codex quite handily, and XOXO01, I'm not certain what the game plan was there. They're getting into something that feels a little bit more like the XOXO01 that we all know and love, you know, with the Spider-Man. Now switching over to the Hulk. I mean, we're getting a different flavor of dive coming out here from EXO, but Pirates, they don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? They just need to play good and do damage, and Vital has done more than enough damage on the Elsa. I like how you said it, taxing XOXO01's health bars before they even get to the fight, for K to just be able to go in there with the katanas and cut them all down to shreds. And I kind of feel like unless you can shut down Vital, that is going to be the pattern that we see throughout the rest of Celestial Husk, or whatever's left of it.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like Pirates playing on that sturdy ground, going with what they know. XOXO thinking outside the box, as they usually do here. Pretty interesting comp coming out the gate here, but that is what has led EXO to so many victories in the past here, so they are definitely looking to capitalize on that outside the box thinking here. Of course, Pirates gonna go with what they know here, and what they know is Kaidia leading the charge yet again. Deadpool right up in their area, quite literally, to start things off here. One Meteor M ready to go for Pirates. That's all they've got to start things off here, but they are taking some solid positioning here. Kaidia on the high ground there, sniping it down onto EXO as they will charge onto the point here for the opening salvo of this second capture point here. Some damage down onto Hoodie. Gambit in trouble here, but of course, plenty of time for Pirates to recover here. Deadpool all ready to go, and Kaidia is going to let it rip here. The Banhammer on the board here. Vital's going to throw down the Apex Predator as well. Ace hulking out there. World Breaker coming through to try and knock some of Pirates off of this point here, but quite a tug of war to start things off.
Zantho with a Maelstrom is able to take down Vital. Rester gonna go ahead and pop that. Oh, the final exam, actually, the strap pool coming out from return does get the jackpot, but I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of people around to cash out with him, as Kaidia still firmly in control of the point, just letting those Deagles fly with the Deadpool in your area, getting that fire rate boost, and one quick shot, that was disgusting, onto Ace.
Bruce Banner sniped out. Eye of Agamotto from Zetha. Unfortunately, a whiff, and Pirates will look to convert a KO onto the Strange here, as Pirates just looking to keep bodies on the point, but nobody has made the capture quite yet. Finally, Pirates will get it, but what a fight there for the first capture here on checkpoint number 2. Does draw out the Mantis all from EXO, but not enough to save the Gambit on the side of Pirates. The dance floor ready to go here, and overhead Ultron on the Rage of Ultron as well, as Pirates try to hold through, losing one of their strategists, and it looks like they will stand tall here on the point.
There was a bit of a layering of the strategist ultimates, if you can call Rage of Ultron a strategist ult, and Pirates are going to be forced to retreat now, not having that, waiting for Hurdy to come back. There is that Rage of Royal Flush, and Zeta gets caught out in no man's land, and Ace is going to fall as well, and this is finally going to be Pirates evicting everyone from their territory, as 33% and counting now. Finally, they can breathe a sigh of relief as XOXO1 are repelled, but for how long? As they have a very fast composition, they have a Let the Devil Out, and before long, Zeta will have another Eye of Agamotto, and that's enough tools, I think, to get them in that door, and Sungjung going to let the Devil Out come out, and try and say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, looking to do anything they can to literally turn the tide away from Pirates here. Apex Predator coming down from Vital will convert one. Sungjung Woo going back to spawn. Aztec and returning your KO feed as well. Picking up the rest of XOXO. Set him up and knock him down here. An ace for Pirates and one more selfie for Kaidia. Their upgrade on the Deadpool ready to go here. Clinical performance there in that fight from Pirates. They are 70% of the way there, and quickly time running out for EXO to get in the fight here on map 1.
And I like where Pirates play that fight. They play on the back of the point and force this Hulk to come to him where there's a ceiling above him, and he can't really jump in any deeper, and it's just not enough value coming out from this Hulk pick right now, and now Pirates taking the fight straight to XOXO01 at the choke point here, not even letting them get to the point. Gonna once again back up and watch them go back into that cubby yet again and try and play that health pack. No, actually they're gonna scatter a little bit and wait for Zeta to come down, trying to not group up and play around this incoming Eye of Agamotto. And meanwhile, Sungjung Woo sneaks in the back door and takes down Aztec.
Soul Resurgence popping off right away for EXO. They are going to look to follow up on those couple of KOs, and follow up they will there. Rester on the Deadpool ult as well. They are coming through big here at the last second. XOXO is almost ready to make that capture there, but they cannot finish off the last members of Pirates. They will clear it finally, and EXO in control for the first time on this second capture point. And they've got plenty of ults left to hold on to it with too.
And I thought for sure, going back to what I was just saying, that Pirates would go back into that cubby, but no, I think that's an uncharacteristic mistake of them to split off, and that just creates an opportunity for Sungjung Woo to take the 1v1, and a Daredevil in a 1v1, he'll win that nearly 100% of the time, and especially against an Aztec on that Luna Snow with no Fate of Both Worlds online, it's just not happening, my friend. Now XOXO01 have the ults, and they have control of the point. This is where they gotta start cooking. Good exile onto Kaidia as well to kick things off. I don't think they're gonna confirm an Elim there, but they are gonna put the fear into him.
Yeah, the name of the game for EXO here is going to be buying as much time as they can. A KO on the return will do it, though. Rester putting in some work on the Deadpool here. Alone does go with the Jeff ult, but shot down by Kaidia there at the last second before he could finish his meal there. Now Pirates slowly trying to regain control here. They just need to win one fight to take this map home, and that they might do here. Ace back down to Beauty Banner and back to the spawn room, along with the Mantis. Sungjung Woo so low on that Daredevil as well. Zeta, the rest of the team gonna follow them all back to the grave here as Pirates will return the point to their possession. There is a strange portal from Ace, but it is not gonna be there in time unless somebody from EXO can buy them some time, and all the troops move right back through the portal here. Pirates gotta win another one to take this map home. Apex Predator from Vital. Doesn't look like it gets a ton of value here, but now Pirates a little bit on the back foot with just a second of overtime left. Sungjung Woo lets the Devil out one more time and shut right back down by Vital on the Elsa. Monster Piercer pierces right through the Mantis and the Deadpool, and Pirates will take map 1.
That elephant gun shot there from Vital. Bro will address any elephant in the room and firmly remove them from said room. This room, Celestial Codex, Celestial Hand, the entire Celestial Husk belonging to Pirates, and outside of that one little rally there from XOXO01, there was really no doubt. I mean, I do like the composition that they come out with towards the end, and I like the strategies, but Pirates do a very good job of playing around it. They understand that, you know, if you're going to go up against the Hulk, you want to have something for him to bonk his head on, so he can't just jump in onto your backline. You do a good job as well of keeping Sungjung Woo in check for the most part. When he pops that Let the Devil Out, it's not the most opportunistic ult, it's a desperation ult to try and make something happen, and that's kind of the way that you want to force XOXO01 to be playing. If they're going to be playing chaotic, trying to force something to happen, they're not in control. They're not in the driver's seat. You can't let them have control and start to run away with the map, but it's going to be their map pick next, and I have a question for you, and I think you might know the answer, but if you're XOXO01, where do you take Pirates?
Well, we know that Pirates are very, very strong on Dawn. EXO, as far as I'm aware, have yet to lose a convergence map so far in Ignite. So my question, I guess, or my answer is they're definitely going convergence. I don't know which one. Are we going to go back to Symbiotic Surface, though? Are we going to go to Central Park? It seems like a lot of teams end up favoring Central Park, but I do have a feeling that EXO are going to want to take this to the game mode that they have yet to be stopped on. So look for convergence, but I don't know, Central Park, maybe?
I think Central Park historically has been a pretty good map for XOXO1. I've seen a lot of tape of this team on that particular map from previous MRCs, even besting the likes of Zero Tenacity on that map relatively consistently, and we'll probably see a little bit more of that. My money, though, is going to be on Araco, but, you know, we can have a little wager, and we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll find out which of the two of us is correct. Don't go anywhere, chat. We'll see you on the other side.
Behold, Dark Child! Survive this!
Hello, Rivals, and welcome back to Marvel Rivals Ignite. Pirates taking on XOXO01, and so far, Pirates sailing towards victory there with a solid performance on domination. But now the ball in EXO's court, it is their map choice, so playing in their turf now may be an opportunity for them to start turning things around. We are going to Museum of Contemplation, though. Seems to be a very, very popular pick among a lot of the teams here tonight so far.
Yeah, we were both wrong. I bet on Araco. You said Central Park. I mean, I guess I'll take the victory, kinda, because it was a convoy map, but now we're going back to Museum of Contemplation once more. I guess no payout. I was gonna have you, like, you know, do something humiliating, like, you know, proclaim my superiority to the world or something like that. I don't know. You know, whatever. It's fine. We can just move past that and move on over to the next map pick here. This, I think, is an interesting one, though, for EXO, because yeah, you can dive on this one, but I don't know if you can really play EXO's flavor of dive, if that makes any sense. They like to play a little bit more of that flanky kind of, like, look for an opportunity and then seize on that opportunity sort of dive, rather than the I'm just going to jump at you and hurt you kind of dive that I think a lot of other teams like to play, which does work quite well on Museum of Contemplation. But as that one, Dan has coined this team, YWL at home. YWL also historically plays pretty well on this map, so, you know, long story short, don't hate it, don't love it. Openly optimistic.
Yeah, and maybe that's kind of what they're going for here. They want to maybe take a chance at taking this map so they can save the convergence for the end, because EXO, a team historically that has done very well on that game mode up to now. So yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of, maybe we go along the same route. You know, YWL and EXO have some of the same DNA running through their veins here, but that is kind
The
of
D stands for die, by the way, just a reminder.
Right, of course. Take notes, by the way. That will be on the exam at the end, of course, if you're a student at ESU. Anyway, yeah, I think EXO definitely the map pick I would expect out of a loose cannon, you know, kind of subverting both of our expectations going into this one, but, you know, that's what's led them to victory in the past here. But, of course, Pirates, a very confident performance there on domination for map 1, so they are looking clean, they are looking comfortable here, and looking to maybe clock out here after just 2 maps. But, you know, I kind of thought the same thing about Reject in game 1, and then I was immediately proven wrong in every way feasible. So we will have to see if that's how things shake out here.
And I also think if there's one team that you can't just like clock out after 1 map against, it's XOXO1. All right, they're historically very, I don't want to say very bad at domination, but pretty weak on it. But when it starts to get into the convoy and the convergence, that's where they really start to cook, especially when it's on their map pick, where they can basically decide the entire terms of the engagement. They also get to pick whichever side they start off on, and I think, you know, if I know them, they might want to go for attack first so they can just get all of their aggression out and set the bar right away, and then just know what they got to do on the defensive side. We'll see if that ends up being how it plays out, but I'm curious for the pick and ban phase on this one, because I don't think you're going to fear anything like, you know, the Spider-Man or the Daredevil from Sungjung Woo, especially on like this kind of map situation where you can kind of just keep some of these flank routes locked down. I don't think you're worried about his Iron Fist, which I've seen a lot of historically coming out either. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. I think if you're Pirates, you just kind of play it normal, to be honest.
I was gonna say, we're missing one piece of the Sungjung Woo trifecta here, being the Iron Fist, but so far, Pirates have had answers to the Sungjung Woo Spider-Man and the Daredevil, so I have no doubt they have something prepped for the Iron Fist as well, but we are ready to head on to map number 2 here, Museum of Contemplation. It is EXO's pick here as they fight to stay alive in this series against Pirates. Of course, Pirates still undefeated so far in the preseason at 2-0. EXO have marked 1 loss and 2 wins to their name here, and they're looking to make it their 3rd. So both of these teams, veterans, plenty of Ignite experience behind them, so I have no doubt that it's going to be a race to the finish. But so far, Pirates sailing the high seas very comfortably for now, but I have to imagine there's something still in the back pocket that EXO's been saving for.
And, well, it's going to have to come out now, otherwise, we might not get to see it at all. As EXO, I've called them the skill check of this region, but they very much so, like Reject, could continue to slide down the pecking order further and further from that kind of top 3 a lot of people had them pegged as. Pirates have the opportunity to cement themselves as a top 3, as everyone else seems to be tripping over their shoelaces and falling further down than we would like for them to be. But kicking things off with this ban phase, nothing too fancy here coming out. It's going to be the Mantis Protect coming out from EXO, and a one-sided Mantis at that. I take it back. That is actually a little bit interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, retreading a little bit of familiar ground here in the draft phase. Pirates going to bump up a Loki ban potentially here. Yes, they will lock that in there, so Loki off the table for EXO as they will move into their next save, and they're going to take that one-sided Gambit right away. No doubt the Gambit came in so clutch on that first map for them, and he is an enabler for so many of the duelists in the lineup that it is no shock they're going to try and save him here. But maybe Loki not going to be on the board for anybody. Kind of looking like our ban explanation graphic at the beginning of the night here.
Yeah, my army of Lokis will not be approaching your location. In fact, they are going to be seated. They are going to be benched here. Here's the interesting thing. Neither team has touched Elsa Bloodstone in either way, shape, or form. There we go. There's the Protect coming out from Pirates. They read my mind. I think we were all thinking it, though. Like, you're going to see EXO reach for that Mantis. They're going to try and center their strategy around that, and that's not a bad way to go. But to also not ban out the Elsa when you did have an opportunity to do so, that might come back to bite them, because we know how lethal Vital can be on that hero.
Yeah, I mean, you saw him every single time EXO tried to run it to point. Our health bars halfway emptied. That is courtesy of Vital's Elsa. So absolutely living up to the namesake, picked up the MVP on map 1 on the Elsa, and they are just going to retread that same ground here. EXO going to round it off with a ban onto the Ultron, and they will save the Jeff for themselves here. Pirates looking to ban out Daredevil, so no Daredevil on the board for either side here if they choose to lock it in. But I don't know, this one a little weird for me, this draft phase. Not exactly what I expected to see from EXO starting things off here. Pirates get away with a lot here, actually.
A Mantis and a Jeff Protect, though. Like, I'm not certain what we're cooking, and is Sung Woo hover? Okay, it's like, what? Okay, what are you going to play? Because you were hovering the magic for a second. Okay, he's toying with us.
As I would expect from loose cannons here out of the Asia region, and maybe that draft also a little indicative of their status as the loose cannons here. Of course, you know, this EXO team, very experienced at Ignite. They have been around for several stages now. Kind of feels like they've been always the bridesmaid, but never the bride here, trying to turn this season of Ignite into their wedding that they have waited so long for. But right now, Pirates standing tall after that first map win here and looking to close things out. You can't count EXO out, of course. You never know what the loose cannons are going to end up doing here, but it is going to be EXO on the attacking side first. And maybe not to spoil it too much, but we might get the last piece of the Sung Woo trifecta out the spawn gate here.
Maybe. Okay, he stood still for a second there. I thought he was gonna make the swap as well, but I like what I'm seeing out of EXO. I think it's interesting. I think it's exactly the kind of interesting that we are used to seeing from this team and need to see from this team to try and catch Pirates off guard. But return on the Namor, they're already ready for whatever shenanigans Sung Woo is gonna be coming out with, and he's already caught a trident right between the eyes. Not gonna be falling as a result of it, but we'll be thinking twice about approaching.
Yeah, definitely thought they would have some answers for this last Sung Woo hero, and that they do. They've got answers for the strategist line for EXO as well. That answer is a reset button right back to spawn there. Luna and White Fox both sent back, along with the Thing as well. So Pirates opening salvo on defense. Solid start for them, but of course, EXO gonna get right back up and dust themselves off. Long way to go here on Museum of Contemplation.
Sung Woo can take a moment to think about what he's done. Something interesting, by the way, is that Vital is already max instinct, so those cooldowns are going to be instantaneous, so a lot of elephant gun shots going to be coming out, but there's a shot across the bow for you. Fun, punch down, pummeled into a fine powder by the Iron Fist of Sung Woo, and that's going to be enough to get around that first corner. They want to keep the pressure going. Sung Woo looking to try and find someone else that he can burst down, and Kaidia is going to be on the chopping block.
Now Sung Woo just eating the Pirates Vanguard line alive here, opening the door for EXO to start coming through onto those duelists and the strategists as well here. Good shots for them. Fun walking it back on the Magneto and ready for a brawl here. Zetha helmeted up, ready to take the pitch here for EXO as they're already on the move over halfway to that first capture point. Plenty of path to go here. Fun standing in front for the team here, trying to soak, but EXO definitely looking to put some pressure on here. Return checking those flank routes here. They do not want to get caught by surprise, and Return will take one onto Ace there, sending the Magneto back.
Yep, and that's going to be Zetha turning corner and running and getting back with the rest of the team. I think without the Magneto there and the shielding, they're going to take too much punishment from the spam damage coming out from both the Namor squids and just the raw trident damage, and they really don't want to deal with that. But here's the problem. They're giving Pirates time to build up this last little bit of percentage to their ultimate, so now Pirates can plan. They can decide, when do I want to pop this? How do I want to use this? What's this shark in my backline? Where did he go? Return popped him like a balloon.
Yeah, massive wave kind of coming from Pirates here as they find one KO. They're going to look to follow up on it, but a big dunk from Ace taking down Vital. Elsa Bloodstone out the picture for now. Deadpool does come through for Kaidia, but Dance Floor on the floor for EXO. That's a fade of both worlds offline for now, but it keeps EXO in the fight here as they are looking to try and roll on through. Hoodie on the Gambit as well, finding one here. EXO taking a little bit of a step back here, but not bad progress. Still a minute 30 left to go here, so they got to find a way to get this over the last hill to that first checkpoint.
Clobber Time and Living Chi, not the biggest of wombo combos, not what you would have thought about, but it is one that is going to be online, and EXO can potentially use that one. Among those also has It's Jeff. There's the Clobber in time. Not quite as big as you would have liked it to be. It's going to be fun absorbing the brunt of that damage, but with a Meteor Rem, he can absorb a lot more and then some and send it right back the way it came.
It definitely just felt like that Clobbering Time out there on its own. No real follow-up from EXO. Breaking even here, 1-for-1 on both sides of the board here. Oh yeah, the Living Chi goes down too, so one more ult offline. EXO here, Vital lets that the Apex Predator rip there. It's Jeff from alone somewhere in the backline. I do think he caught somebody, maybe not here. And a big horn there, the Horn of Proteus overhead for a return, but he will go down. Sung Woo over onto the Spider-Man and finds one KO. Aztec Invisible Boundary to try and get them back in the fight here on the defense. EXO just a few scan meters away, but shut down by Pirates.
I think the Jeff ult from the Lone Fills was just to give a healing pool and try and keep EXO alive in the fight for a while, but it's not going to be enough. This is our Sungjung Woo with an assassination on return, and that's on point B. Bro, you got to cap point A first. Get back into the fight here as it's about to kick off around this first quarter here. Pirates looking to hold the door, but they're going to have to do it without their Phoenix.
Yeah, not a lot of resources in the tank here, but Hoodie will take one big pick onto Sungjung Woo's Spider-Man. Deadpool ult as well, so Pirates gonna try to follow through here and shut them down just short of this first checkpoint. Wrestler's got another Fate of Both Worlds ready to go for the team, but it's just buying them some time here. There is a White Fox ult on the board somewhere here, but there's the Raging Royal Flush from Hoodie. Plenty of damage gonna come through for Pirates now. Kumiho Unleashed gonna look to try and keep EXO in the fight here. Long enough for Ace and Zephyr to pull this off here. Overhead Meteor in from Ace, but it whiffs there. Apex Predator from Vital at the last here. We'll find a couple of KOs. Hoodie helping to clean up and finish the job, and Pirates will hold them just short of checkpoint number 1.
Despite Sungjung Woo's best shenanigans, Pirates are able, like you say, to hold them shy. Another full cap, but I don't know. This still gives me a little bit of pause after that last series. I don't know if I trust it. I think it might still be winnable for EXO. Pirates have been a little bit more clean. They're more keen to stick onto the point like glue, and they do just that. That's how they're able to hold on there, and I like Vital with that Apex Predator at the end, the exclamation point on what was an emphatic defense there. A couple of strays here and there, the Spider-Man going in arguably too deep just to try and find the Elim onto the Phoenix, but whatever, we take it. Unfortunately, just getting popped by the AoE damage, the anti from Hoodie on that Gambit. It's not often you see the Gambit getting active in the Elim feed, but Hoodie was making his presence known there, and Pirates riding that high, seemingly all the way to a 2-0 victory here against EXO, unless this defense is stellar.
Before you attack.
Yeah, I mean, solid timing on the Gambit pick there at the very last second. But yeah, I'm with you. I can't say that this is open and shut here. Of course, Reject did hold their opponents, at one time here, did hold their opponents short of that first checkpoint. Can't count EXO out just yet, but it feels like Pirates are holding steady to the game that they know. We said this between maps, but it feels like EXO is kind of playing a different sort of game, and Pirates are just choosing not to play and getting a lot of value as a result of that. So last chance here for EXO to stay alive in this series. 101 meters is all Pirates gotta clear. A couple of fights they'll have to win to get there, but plenty of work cut out for EXO here on defense.
Now they have no time for EXO's childish games. They are on the quest for the Black Pearl and nothing short. Zetha, are they good? Mag Cannon goes a little bit wide there. I was gonna say good Mag Cannon. I expected that one to hit, but Vital was able to hit the schmooves and get out alive, and Pirates can keep this pressure going. And now Return just able to pepper these shots down range with the angle here, and even getting on an interesting little flank route there as well. That's going to be a pinch that I think EXO are going to have to pay close attention to. They take down Aztec, though. That's a good way to deal with it.
Yeah, definitely some way to get your head in the game here, as EXO will take control of the cart for now. Gonna have to wait for the invis to walk it back. Kaidia's got Banhammer ready to go on the Deadpool as well. So they've got some options here. A couple heroes looking pretty good in terms of ult charge. But right now it is a neutral game, and Pirates gonna have to turn the tide somehow here. Vital on the move yet again on the Elsa. Will find Zetha. So Magneto off the table here. Invis shut down yet again. Return, and Vital filling the KO feed for potentially the last time this series, as Hoodie gets in there as well. Again on the Gambit. Door wide open here as Zetha going over to the Doctor Strange. Gonna try to get the portal here in at the last second, but Vital throws down Apex Predator to stop him in his tracks. 2:30 still on the clock, and Pirates on the move with EXO scrambling to get back to the point.
Vital type GG's in the chat after that Apex Predator. Indeed, it might be GG's. We do have Sungjung Woo on the Venom with a touch there, but Return with the end song Inferno, and that will be the swan song for EXO as a quadra KO for Return. Man, all right. I will not be fooled again. Pirates will get the full cap there emphatically and decisively, and you are right, Vital. GG's.
Yeah, it was kind of all over, but the crying as soon as the Apex Predator came on alive there, and that was the wrap. Of course, the end song Inferno at the very end too, just to kind of put a nice little bow on this matchup here. But Vital MVP 2 times in a row here, and Pirates will close it out in a clean 2-0 over EXO here, as they will advance to 3 games undefeated so far in the preseason. What a performance for Pirates here yet again.
And if EXO was the skill check past flying colors, Pirates are clearly skilled enough to be at the top of the pecking order, and with that win, at least for the time being, cement themselves at the top of the leaderboards. There's still an opportunity for Zero Tenacity later on tonight to match that one, but Pirates right now are riding a wave that will take them all the way to the top if they let it, and I think they got the win in their sails, they got the momentum, they've got the duelist players popping off left and right. Vital with 10 final blows, 9 for return, and by the way, 4 out of that 9, nearly half, was in the last 5 seconds of that map. It's insane stuff coming out from this team, and they just look like the cleanest team in the region, bar none. This is what we thought Reject would be, but no, Pirates are the new top of the Asia Pacific.
Yeah, the real deal for hair out of this Pirate squad. Of course, a lot of them Ignite veterans in their own right. Plenty of experience at the top levels here in the Asia region especially. So they have definitely played these games before and they know them quite well. They choose not to play the EXO game here and they will walk away 2 maps to none. A solid performance from them. EXO now sitting at 2-2 overall. So still definitely in the chase. Definitely comfortable in the middle of the pack somewhere. But Pirates definitely starting to cement themselves here as a force to be reckoned with in Asia Pacific.
And something I was worried about was, the win from AAAD over Reject earlier tonight, if that might have taken a little bit of the wind out of Pirates' sails and been like, okay, well, maybe Reject is just a lot weaker than we thought, and maybe it wasn't such a big deal that Pirates beat them, and Pirates come out with a statement and they say, no, it was that big of a deal. We are a big deal, and we are going to be a problem in that playoff bracket, and we'll see you there.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely no doubt in my mind that they're going to be one of the teams to be reckoned with. Of course, another one, Zero Tenacity, still floating out there somewhere in the stratosphere as another team. Looking forward to the collision course between those two. But I mean, again, a beautiful performance for Pirates on all cylinders. Again here, another team top to bottom that looks so clean, and definitely expect to see big things out of them as they continue down the warpath.
And we are going to continue our warpath here in the Pacific regions. We've got more action on the other side of a quick little break here. Don't go anywhere. We have got game number 3 on deck, and we'll see you for that in just a bit.